while we wait for Cheryl to get in here, I know looks like we've got a few people watching that are not directly in the real estate business, but I believe that a lot of the marketing principles that, I live by in the real estate world, as well as the other businesses that I'm involved in, are going to apply. And so if you have any questions, if you guys are involved in any business, own your own business, or whether, I don't care if it's e-commerce or service-based, if you are not running and building content and running Facebook and Instagram ads in a 2019 world, you are, in my opinion, irrelevant. And no one is going to know how good of a real estate agent you are, how great your business is, how great your product is, how great your service is. So, my intent on everything that we push out, as well as, doing things like this, is to make sure that, we bring as much value as possible to, the real estate community specifically, but also any business owner, because hold on, Cheryl's finally here. Let me bring her in. Let's see. There she is. I knew we could do this. Hey, we did it.
Sorry for the
I
technical
knew we could do
difficulties
it.
there.
No, I know. I was trying to figure this out. Jonathan was trying to walk us through it. It was not going well. No, I'm glad you were able to join for sure. So, I was just giving kind of my opinion on, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, digital content in general in a 2019 world. And in my opinion, for those of businesses and agents that are not doing it, they're irrelevant in a 2019 world if they're not doing it. And that I believe, will only get worse over time. So I was just curious on your thoughts. I mean, obviously you're in the real estate industry. I know we have some people watching who are not specifically in real estate, but are involved in other businesses. And I believe there's, a lot of correlation and similarities to really any business, especially any service or sales-based business, as there is to real estate. So what's your take? And why don't you take 30 seconds and just give us kind of your origin story and your background a little bit.
So thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on first off. So hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Pinkard. I run a digital marketing agency in New York City called Dividend Digital. My background before that, I worked actually in corporate on Wall Street for about 10 years in various marketing related roles, and started my own firm a couple years ago with a specific focus on real estate marketing. I'm also a licensed real estate agent, side note. So to answer your question, it's relevant for real estate agents. It's relevant for any business. I mean, there's no other medium, in my opinion, where you can access so many people for such a minimal investment in ad spend and resources. It really is the ubiquitous platform right now, whether you're talking about Facebook or Instagram. So if your business is not on there, then you're missing out on a ton of opportunities, even when it comes to search results. So, when people search your name, your business, usually the first couple of results organically are your social profiles. So you have to have a presence if you want to be relevant, if you want to be taken seriously, whether you're a real estate agent or any other business owner.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, people get caught up quite a bit, and they do a lot of headline reading. There was an agent yesterday that I was talking to with a different Century 21 brokerage who was trying to argue with me that Facebook ads do not work. And specifically, he was arguing this because they did not work the one time he ran them, and the $20 he spent unfortunately didn't bring him a real estate deal. So, obviously he didn't give it a full shot, but, I think my response to him, which I think applies to nearly every business that has either thought about it or read a headline or, tried it once and it didn't work, is that, Facebook ads don't work. Well, here's the reality. If you get in your car and you leave your keys and the car won't start, is it the car's fault? That's, and that's the reality of the situation. I correlate running Facebook ads very much to learning to drive, right? If I put you in a car at 15 and you've never driven before, you might be able to turn the car on, figure out how to kind of get it going. but are you going to be safe? Is it actually going to work? Are you actually going to get to where you want to go safely and efficiently? And the answer is probably no, right? It takes time. You have to learn it. You have to take the time. You actually have to learn how to drive. And it's the same exact thing with Facebook ads. It takes time to learn to do it correctly. So in your opinion, you spend a lot of time with agents, and I think it correlates to any business owner. What, in your opinion, do you see the biggest mistake that agents or just business owners in general are making when trying to run Facebook ads?
Good question. So it really ties into what you were just talking about. I think the biggest mistake is just having the wrong expectations, and that, kind of cascades into a lot of other things. So really, people expect Facebook ads to have, an immediate return oftentimes because it's a social platform and, the whole instant gratification thing, right? But whenever I talk to clients, I tell them you should do this for at least 3 to 6 months before you make any sort of a judgment as to whether it, like quote unquote works or not. And spoiler alert, it does work. I work with, dozens of clients one-on-one. I've, taught hundreds of agents at, different trainings, my own workshops and at other brokerages. But you really have to be patient. So, that would be the other, big mistake. People are expecting a quick return for, a minimal investment. And getting frustrated if the first 5 leads, don't convert, when really you should be committing, a few $100 a month to Facebook advertising. A few $100 in ad spend could get you, several hundred leads, depending on what your lead cost is per, in your particular market. So, so learning the platform is important. First of all, having the right training or working with somebody who actually does know the platform and is keeping up to date with all the changes, investing the right amount of money, and then also having the proper offer, targeting and audience. Those are all some of the more technical things that you get into when you're inside the ads manager. But really, I think it all comes down to expectations, understanding that this is a longer term commitment. If you're a company or, as a real estate agent, essentially you are your own company, right? And any company usually commits to a marketing plan for at least 12 months. Nobody runs one television ad and says, oh, TV doesn't work. I ran an ad and I didn't make, a sale. Same thing with, billboards and bus benches and direct mail. These are all things that people have no problem committing to for longer periods of time because, it's an investment and it takes a bit of time to get a return. But if you're consistent with it over time, then, it's inevitable.
Well, I have a theory there too, and I could be wrong, but especially in real estate, when it comes to like things like direct mail, and even in bigger brands, because I've worked in bigger brands as well, when they run TV, I think the outcome and the results, the data, is more ambiguous. So they don't directly tie it, and therefore in their head they can rationalize it, right? They don't know for sure that it's not working, so therefore it might be working, right? Where when you run Facebook ads, it's a direct response to, okay, I can clearly see that my ad sucked, right? But a lot of times then it becomes an excuse game. Oh, it was Facebook. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. And no, it was just because you didn't properly know how to set up the ad, and you didn't properly know how to run it, and your creative sucked and everything else about it was terrible, and that's why it didn't work, not because not because Facebook ads don't work, right? We know that they do. So I see that quite a bit. And when I talk to agents, it's a bunch of excuses instead of actually letting the data tell them that no, it did work, but this is where your views fell off, or this is where you fell short, or oh, you didn't layer your targeting properly. So, I think that's something commonplace that I see, but I think it comes back to the fact that you're getting real raw data when you run Facebook and Instagram ads. It is literally in real time telling you if it's working or not working. And if you're running direct mail, you're running print, you're running TV, it is a complete guessing game. You are throwing stuff up on a wall to see if it sticks, and maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. And then you get a sale, and you're just, because you need to justify it in your head, you're attributing it to that flyer that you sent out to 400 people. The fact is you don't know, right? And that's my thing. I think the biggest piece that's missing, honestly, going back to your point, is the
Mm-hmm.
intent, right? And I think people are very confused on their own intent, what they actually want, and then what they should want when running Facebook and Instagram ads. Obviously, it is a powerful tool to run leads, but in my opinion, I see this all the time when I have agents that are only spending dollars to drive instantaneous leads. It becomes a losing game because their follow-up plan that is needed to execute on those leads that they're bringing in is not there, right? They're busy. And so let's say you drive 400 leads for your couple $100 in spend, right? Which
Yeah.
is possible depending on where you are. You could do that, but there's not an agent that I know of that's going to be able to properly handle and follow up with 400
Exactly.
leads. So now it becomes a game of, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you just trying to get leads and fill your CRM with a bunch of people you're not going to call? Or are you actually trying to build a business and build a brand? And if you build a brand, then this is no longer, Facebook ads are no longer a lead and sales tool. It is a communication tool where you should be communicating to your targeted audience who you are, build trust, build brand, bring value, and then that ultimately will fill a pipeline of business. And because it's happening over time, I think they're actually able to execute and handle it more efficiently than they are if they just go out and drive 100 leads.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think they can handle it. I mean, what is your opinion on follow up? Because this is a hot topic, I think, in probably
Yeah.
most brokerages, but especially ours. Follow up is something we debate all the time.
Yeah.
So what's your take on
Yeah,
follow up?
when it comes to follow up, the short answer is that most folks are not following up often enough and or fast enough, right? So within the first 5 minutes of that lead coming in, if you're running lead gen ads, then that's your highest probability time frame of getting someone to respond. After the first 15 minutes, it drops off exponentially. So you really want to make sure that you are following up early and often. Sometimes it'll take 6 to 10 touches to get somebody on the phone, and you have to follow up in different using different methods of communication. So we talk about phone, text, messenger bots, email. Those are all different ways that you want to be able to communicate with your target market, and especially with the leads who actually raise their hand and give you their information to say that they're interested. But generally speaking, yeah, most people are just not following up, quick enough, and they're not following up often enough. A lot of times people are doing these things when they're, at work and they can't really talk on the phone. So, maybe it's not a phone call, it's a phone call and then followed up with a text. Sometimes the leads will come in the middle of the night. So if you're not able to follow up, there are other services out there that are, 24/7 follow-up services that you can implement if you're not going to follow up with the leads yourself. So I always tell people, somebody has to follow up with the leads. If it's not going to be you, then you have to, have somebody else who's going to do it for you.
Yeah, 100%. I preach all the time that you have to have a follow-up plan if you have a
Yeah.
marketing plan, right? Like, it just, especially in any service-based business, whether it's real estate or something else, you have to have a follow-up plan. And if you don't, then you're probably going to spend dollars and waste them because you're going to drive leads that you're not actually going to work. And to your point on follow-up, the way you follow up, we always preach that at least the initial attempt, people typically communicate with you in the way that they want to be communicated with. So if they send in a email or web form or text you, the last thing they want is you picking up the phone and calling them. If they wanted to talk to you, they would have called you, and they didn't, right? So stop communicating in the way you want to communicate and communicate in the way they want to communicate, is a big thing. And have you seen, have you heard of
Yeah.
OpCity?
Yep.
Okay. So we use
Okay.
OpCity, and I think it's funny because people try and reinvent the wheel. OpCity's figured it
Right.
out, right? 27 attempts in 30 days. That's what they've
Mm-hmm.
realized that it takes.
Yep.
Okay, so we got a couple questions here. It looks like Hannah asked, can you tell us what services you use to help with the follow-up when you are unable to respond? So I think you had alluded to some of these automated systems. I know as a brokerage, we use some bots how are you using bots? How are you using them? What bots are you
Yeah,
using?
so we definitely use bots in my agency. So we use them in a couple different ways, usually tied to a lead generation ad. So somebody submits their, name, email, phone number. Beds and baths are you looking for? Do you need financing? Are you working with a real estate agent? So this helps to engage the lead a little bit more upfront so that, even if the agent isn't able to get to them right away, they've already started this dialogue. And then at the end of the bot, we can tie it to a scheduling link. So if you have something like Calendly or Schedule Once or Acuity, you can basically have that person schedule a time to speak with you. So it's not just, they're submitting their information and it's kind of out in the ether and they're not being, followed up with, quick enough. And then when people opt into your messenger bot, now they're a subscriber, right? So you're able to send broadcast messages to them and follow up with them, at different intervals. I know Facebook made an announcement, so now they're changing the level of access that we have when it comes to emails and voicemails and the other methods that we're so reliant on to try to get in contact with folks.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I think, have you tested using landing page bots? So I don't know
So
if you've like the conversion conversation bots.
basically like the bots you have on a web page, so they land on your page and you're
Yeah.
talking to them like that.
Yeah, not even so much the like actual chat bots because we have those as well. I'm actually referring to things like Landbot and there's a couple other platforms. Drift makes one where it's
Mhm.
actually a conversation bot. So when you come in, you would actually drive from your ad, you would drive the traffic into a page, a landing page, but that landing page is a bot. So it's literally set up like a chat. So instead of them going into a landing page and having to scroll and kind of learn info on their own,
Mhm.
it literally is, hey, Cheryl, welcome to whatever. I see that you're interested in this. What questions can I answer for you? And starts a conversation almost the same way as if you were to drive them into Messenger and kind of engage there. It's a way for you to actually drive them into your website. The one thing so we've been testing it. The one thing I found with it was it's a little intriguing because most of the Facebook Messenger bots that we have used don't allow you to capture information periodically through the conversation. So if they give you email but they don't finish the conversation, I don't get that info all the time.
Mhm. Right.
With this, it's giving it to you at all the time. So as soon as they get that info, whether they drop off, they leave, whatever, you
Yep.
automatically get that info and it gets added to to your list. So, have
Mhm.
you tested anything like that?
Yeah, so we're not really using landing page bots all that much. We're mostly basically essentially keeping the transaction on Facebook. So I find that, you know, Facebook rewards you for keeping the lead gen cycle on their platform, and it's usually easier to get people to engage within the platform. So I'm not testing the off page or the landing page bots, but that is a good point in terms of capturing the different data points. So it basically comes down to needing more advanced automation, right, in order to capture the different data points if they don't complete the sequence. So that is definitely a challenge. So if the landing page bots are solving for that and you're able to get good opt-ins, then that's definitely something worth looking at. What are
Yeah.
your opt-in rates that you're seeing on that and like completion rates?
Yeah, I mean completion rates are running 30-40%
Okay,
of
yeah, that's
the
pretty good.
conversation. So not terrible.
Yeah,
Um, opt-in though we're getting because of that fact that it captures it whether they complete the conversation or not. We're getting 60, 70, 80% capture rates of the people that are engaging
yeah,
because it's, three questions in and then we got it, right?
yeah, gotcha.
But again, obviously, same thing with video. Someone who watches, 50% of your videos far more interested typically than someone who watched, 5 seconds. So,
Right,
um, you know, there's good and there's bad with that. But
I agree.
on kind of along the same lines. So going back to free content, do you guys as an agency, do you offer creating and posting content for your clients just organically?
So we definitely encourage it, and we tend to work with our clients to do that. So you talked about video, and I'm a big proponent of video. So to me, it's the fastest way to build your brand and your presence on social media. It's the highest consumed form of content out there. More people watch video than they're reading posts. So we work with our clients to create video strategies so that we can essentially run video view type campaigns and build up an audience and keep them top of mind to their local market by using video. So it's more of a working together arrangement that we do, having scripts and different topics and ideas, but basically having, the agent be the face of their brand as they should be, and developing this content that's helpful to folks. So whether it's something like a market update or, interviewing a local business owner at their favorite coffee shop or something like that, basically just having content that you're constantly, in people's news feeds. So I have one client who we were talking, and he was telling me how he's at a local PTA, and one of the parents, he was like, "You're always in my news feed." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point, right? You want to
Yeah.
be there to the point where people can't forget you, and so that when they're ready to buy or sell, or when they have a friend who's thinking about buying or selling, you're the person who's top of mind because you're always there giving them, information and making your presence known."
100%. Yeah, I preach that a lot. I'm sure
Hmm.
my agents are tired of hearing it because I literally preach that exact concept.
Hmm.
One thing that I tested just to see, I'm not a licensed agent, but I just wanted to see if it would work, is I started creating value-driven videos and geo-targeting places that I go regularly. So I would
Hmm.
do like a mile around my gym, mile around Target, mile around all these places, and it was insane what would happen, because with a
Yeah.
$10 spend, when you're that niche, you're getting pretty heavy reach within that ad. And so I would run these, and I ran them for a few weeks, and I would literally go into the gym, and people I'd never talked to be like, "Dude, I've seen your videos." So it's
Yeah.
amazing how common sense a lot of this stuff is, but for some reason, when we get in our business, we can't take that step back and think very logically and practically about it.
Hmm.
And so that's something. But yeah, I mean, I'm 100% in on being a local resource because you will be in that news feed. And
Yep.
while they may not be in the market for a house at this moment, right, they will be at some point. And
Right.
if you're the one that's constantly there, you're the one they're going to call. And more importantly, you're also the one that by doing this regularly, subconsciously, what are they thinking? Oh my God, Cheryl's everywhere. Cheryl knows
Right.
everyone. Cheryl knows everything about this community because you're
Hmm.
always there. You're always with someone new. You're out in the community. You're showing that stuff off, and it just creates you as being the local market expert. So who are they going to call?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just,
Absolutely.
again, it goes back to being just very, very common sense stuff. But for some reason, it falls short. So
Yep.
on the content side, on the ad side, I'm assuming, like us, you're using video on the paid side more than pictures.
So it depends. If we're doing a branding type of campaign where we're trying to build up an audience of video views so that we can retarget, then yeah, obviously it'll be more video. But when it comes to the lead gen ads, typically the static images still convert really well. So for the actual lead gen, meaning for folks who don't know, basically you're putting an ad out there, someone clicks on it, and then they give you their name and email and phone number or whatever information you're requesting. So for those, we're using mostly static images. For retargeting, we do a lot of video though.
Interesting. Good. Yeah, I mean we use video 98% of the time
Hmm.
in all of our ads, whether we're running lead gen or not.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
but that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought the images would be converting quite that well. So that might be
Yeah,
something we have to play with.
yeah,
Are you doing
definitely.
anything on like YouTube pre-roll, anything else outside of Facebook and Instagram ads, as far as dollars, not necessarily, organic content, but just dollars spent?
Yeah, as far as ad spend, it's heavily on Facebook. the Facebook, Instagram platform. So not doing any YouTube ads right now, although they are, extremely cheap right now. So I feel like that's kind of like the next frontier as Facebook ads become a little bit more expensive. But yeah, same thing, same concept with video. So it's something that we're actually looking at starting to incorporate and have a bit more of an omnipresence. So being able to be on, Facebook and the Google network, and essentially be able to follow folks around the entire internet, not just Facebook with the retargeting.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've always been, outside of our Realtor.com and Zillow things at the brokerage level, which we do spend a lot of money on those things, but they convert pretty well for us. All of our spend has been on Facebook and Instagram, primarily Facebook. However, we recently started running some YouTube pre-roll, and I was just looking today. I mean, we're running about 5 cents a click on our pre-roll ads, which, to get them to click out of a video that they were just about to watch, that they went there to watch, and then you get them to click out of it. I was pretty impressed at the results we've seen so far. So, obviously the content there is the biggest variable. You have to have good content that they actually want to click out of to go watch or go to. But so if you haven't been doing it, I would suggest giving it a shot. We've had some pretty good success with the YouTube pre-roll we've been testing.
Yeah, I've definitely seen the ad costs in that range that you're talking about, a few cents per click. So it's definitely something that I think has a lot of value in terms of, especially the branding play.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So what is your take? Because I'm getting questions other places here. I know my take. What's your take on the recent Instagram announcement of likes and other visible things going away? Obviously, likes are going to be the first thing. They're talking about hiding comments, as well as at some point potential follower count as well, all going away. What's your take on that? And then I will give mine.
Sure. Yeah. So, there's so many ways that social media can be manipulated, right? And I don't know if this is the reason why, but I feel like that's part of the reason why, some of these changes are coming in. You can buy 1 million followers, right? But then you see somebody has 1 million followers and zero engagement. So it makes for, a disproportionate or, a bad experience on the platform. But I think as long as you are able to build up your own following, essentially, and whether you're using paid ads or organically, as long as your content is relevant and you have those people in your audience that you're continuing to, target and retarget and provide valuable content, I think that trumps, all of the other, aspects of the platform. So to me, it's more about building an engaged audience and delivering value. And when you have that, people will naturally, follow you, and you'll be able to, present yourself and position yourself in a way that people who are trying to manufacture the process artificially aren't able to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, my take is, obviously Instagram has pushed this out as being an attempt to limit bullying and anxiety, especially in their younger users who are kind of playing into the likes and comments and making sure that they do those things. And that's, their reason why. And that's a valid reason. And as as a dad of 2 young boys, I hope that, they're only 8 and 5, so they're thankfully not on Instagram yet, but I support that reason. I also believe, though, that there's a monetary reason for this. I think not only are they trying to battle all the people that are selling the fake stuff on their platform, I think more importantly, they have realized that there's a lot of money being made on the influencer side of Instagram that they do not get a piece of. And if they take away a brand's ability to see the likes and comments and engagement. So my personal take is, I think if they take that away, it makes it very difficult for a brand and an influencer to make money without now needing Instagram. So I believe that Instagram is going to then announce a platform within the platform that is strictly for influencers, where their algorithm will be able to tell a brand who they should and should not be doing deals with, and allow Instagram to take a piece in the middle. Is kind of my take on it. Facebook and Instagram rarely do anything that does not help them monetarily, even though there might be another positive benefit. But I like it as a brand because I do believe that it will eliminate some of the BS, and I think it will clean up the platform a little bit. I'm tired of seeing all the bot comments and all of that. And I'm all for bots and automation. I'm just not for it in the way that they're being used, especially on Instagram. Drives me crazy. So, I'm all for it. I like it. Your content's going to stand on its own merit, and I think it's going to allow people to actually open up and share stuff they actually believe in without fear that 5 people are going to like it and it's going to look bad. So I like the change. I really do. But we'll see if they actually go through with it, and time will tell. I think. Do you believe that? Because there's a lot of theories out there that this is going to take down Instagram in the way that Snapchat's algorithm change kind of, and for a lack of a better term, kind of took down that platform. I mean, it's still there, but it's not nearly as relevant as it was. What is your take? Do you think Instagram survives this if they do it?
I think it does. The same way Facebook, I was on Facebook from the time it launched, right? And before you could even like upload pictures and there was no video or anything like that, right? And it's evolved for the better, right? But I think the same, Instagram is evolving the same way. So it's starting out as one thing and it's kind of morphing into something else. And I think there are already so many people on there and so many people rely on it for, business and social, that people will just kind of adapt. They'll probably be a little upset at first if they actually go through with the change, especially the influencers who are, making money hand over fist without having to, give a cut to Facebook and Instagram. But I think it's just the next phase of, this particular version of the internet. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the downfall of Instagram, but I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't believe this will take down the platform. I do believe it will create a white space for a potential platform to emerge.
Sure.
Whether that's one of the other ones that's kind of on the brink now or not, I believe that something will emerge from it. I just think that the biggest challenge all these other platforms have had, and Snapchat being one of them, is they just have all failed to be able to create an ad platform that business owners want to use. And for that reason is why I think Facebook and Instagram will continue to win, because if Snapchat had the ability and the back-end platform to be able to run highly efficient and effective targeted ads at demographics, people would still be there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But they're not, because they don't have that ability. LinkedIn has come so far, in my opinion, and is one of my favorite channels now from an organic perspective. We're using it every single day, but I still wouldn't run a paid ad on LinkedIn right now. I love the fact that you can target by job title, but I can do that on Facebook, right? So it's like, I think they're on the verge. If LinkedIn had the ability to like really, really target effectively and actually work, and that's the other thing. It's amazing how accurate Facebook's targeting truly is in its deployment, because we've tested LinkedIn and I've run things to 25 to 45-year-old women, and then I have 57-year-old men commenting on the ad. I'm like, what in the world? You shouldn't even be seeing this. So I think that is something that will drastically improve or hurt a platform. If I don't care what it is, at some point, if marketers can't use it, it typically doesn't survive very long. So
Agreed.
So let's not be digitalists. I know that you run a digital agency. I obviously heavily believe in Facebook and Instagram ads. What is your take on, because I believe voice is going to take over. That's why I think doing things like this and podcasts and really being able to communicate in a voice environment is important as a brand and as an individual. What's your take on things like radio? Because this is something that like I met with iHeartRadio last week. They've got some intriguing things, and now that radio has become much more streaming, there's a lot more targeting availability now, so that you're not just kind of broadcasting a radio ad out there. What's your take on voice and radio and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I mean, voice is awesome. We use it all the time, right? I mean, whether you're iPhone or Android or, Alexa or Google Home or whatever, we're all using, Hey Siri, Hey Google, or Alexa all the time. So I think that it's something that's probably not native to everybody right now, but it's something that is becoming more popular. The more people adapt it and use it, the more advertisers and marketers will be able to leverage it for business. So I think it's definitely more of like a bleeding edge technology when it comes to the masses, but it's something that is worth taking a look at now and getting in the early stage of it to really establish a presence. So whether it's something like developing Alexa skills or whatever, I think that it's something that you want to take a look at. In terms of radio, yeah, everybody's most people listen to radio via streaming versus the good old fashioned airwaves, right? I basically only listen to radio when I'm in my car, and I live in New York City, so I'm not in my car all that often. Regular, FM radio. But I find when I'm streaming and the ads that I get when I'm listening to streaming services are not very targeted. So I don't know how that plays into being able to leverage, platforms like iHeartRadio and target folks. But I know that the data that they get on us when we sign up, that can be used. But I feel like there's something, I don't know, something that's not quite connecting when it comes to the ability to get, laser targeted with those types of ads so far. I know you can do geo and age to a certain extent, but yeah, I think that there's probably some work that needs to be done to make that as efficient as some of the other, digital mediums.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're dealing with a very strict budget, I would not be running, radio ads at the moment.
Yeah, no.
But what I do think, and again, this goes back to building a business and building a brand, where my head goes is, okay, what is the closest way to learn how to run voice style ads now that I could potentially then leverage that skill to be able to run when voice and Alexa and these devices truly hit mainstream and are in every house, and Amazon gives me the ability to run voice ads, right? And am I going to have the skill set and know what works and what didn't work in a voice environment going into that when it is highly targeted, when it is at scale, when I can be effective? It's the same way of if you take a brand that ran TV commercials and has created video content for commercial use for the last 30 years, and now you give them the ability to come on to Facebook, they're going to win because they know how to create engaging content. Right. Now it's just a matter of changing where that content's distributed. And I think so many people get caught because they don't spend the time to actually create the behavior and the framework that's going to allow them to continue to win as things evolve, right? Yeah. And so one thing that we're thinking about doing at the brokerage level is running some radio and getting very good at creating voice-only ads that are compelling and good content and creative and can get results. Because if I can get results when they're not highly targeted, imagine when Amazon says, hey, we're now going to allow you to run, ads when someone asks for a real estate agent in Tampa, and you're going to be able to be the default and run an ad to them. And it is super targeted because not only do we know what their household income is, where they live, where the device is sitting, they're going to know everything along with all your purchase behavior that you're doing on the platform. it will be unbelievably targeted, probably the closest thing to Facebook ads we've ever seen
Hmm.
in the next 5 to 7 years, right? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of my take is just I think people get caught trying to wait and then they're going to try and figure it out. And in the
Hmm.
meantime, there's going to be brands that have already figured it out and now you're a step behind.
Right. Yep. Agreed.
So yeah, so that's my take. If you have the dollars, I think you should be tasting in all these things. And then to your point, taste an Alexa skill. See what it takes
Hmm.
to build it. Start a podcast. Do you have the
Yeah.
ability to communicate in a voice environment?
Hmm.
So I'm with you on that. So okay, I don't want to take up any more of your time. We're almost at an hour. What are your closing thoughts? Anything you want to add or your perspective, takeaway, anything practical, anything that you want to give the audience before we part?
Sure. So I would just say, if you're not advertising, I know we're on Facebook right now, right? So that's kind of the default that we're talking about. But if you don't have
Yep.
a marketing plan, whether that's, digital or offline, then you're really just kind of throwing caution to the wind with your business. So you should really sit down and develop a marketing plan. If we're going to use Facebook, for example, decide, pick 3 to 5 zip codes that you're going to market in. Decide, who your target audience is, be able to identify and speak to them in the copy that you write. Make sure you have good creative, so good images, for example, and commit to a budget. Say I'm going to do this for 3 months, and I'm going to spend X amount per month to make it happen. But before you do all that, if you're going to do it on your own, make sure you buy a course or get help from somebody who's doing it well already in your office, and really develop the skills to do it well. Because the last thing you want to do is just sort of click around. It's easy to click around and create an ad and hit publish, right? But it's a little bit more difficult. There's more strategy behind what actually makes a Facebook ad work, for example. So number one advice would be just get educated on the platform and the strategy behind what you're doing, and two, make a plan and commit to it for the long term, both marketing plan and a follow-up plan like we talked about. And you definitely start to see returns because the platform is super targeted like we talked about. There are over 2 billion people on the platform, over 200 million in the US alone, and it is where our attention is. So you want to go where your clients are, where your prospects are, where your sphere, where those people are hanging out. So hopefully that's helpful to getting folks started if you're not using the platform already. And if you are, and you want to scale up, then I would say start to experiment more with video. If you're not doing that, you always want to make sure that you are putting your brand out there in front of the people who are most likely to interact with you. And Facebook allows you to do all of that with various forms of targeting. So hopefully that's helpful for folks in terms of next steps or first steps.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So what is if they want to get a hold of you, what are your handles? Where can they follow you? How can they get in touch?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook here, Cheryl Pinkard. You can find me on my business page at Cheryl Dividend Digital. You can email me, cheryl@dividenddigital.com. And I'm always on Facebook, so probably just reach out to me on Facebook. That's the best way, quickest way to find me.
Perfect. Now, guys, just for those of you that follow us and know me, I get hit up by agencies and marketing people all day, every day, trying to either sell me or my agent something. Very few actually get my attention or very nonetheless my time. So if you need help and you're not able to do it through our content, or you need actual someone to help run those ads for you, which we do not do, highly recommend talking to Cheryl. And the couple times we've chatted now and some of the stuff I've seen, she's so practical and hands-on and is creating relevant ideas and creative for this world, right? For a 2019 digital world. So highly suggest using her. Reach out, follow her, connect with her if you have any interest at all. And again, if we can bring you any value, as always, feel free to reach out to me or any of our channels at BE3, and we're happy to help. Cheryl, thank you so much for taking the hour to join us today. Sorry for those technical difficulties earlier, but I'm
Comes
glad
with
we
the
were able to do
territory.
this. And I'm here for you anytime if you ever want to do it again.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks so much for having me on the
All right.
platform.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks to your audience, and feel free to reach out. Happy to help anybody any way I can. So thanks again and look forward to chatting with you soon.